Hey y'all, I just wanted to give a first trimester update and recap just about how I've been feeling, my doctor's appointments, my ultrasounds. Overall, first trimester went fantastic. I recently just finished my first trimester, so I am at the beginning of my second trimester, just so you kind of know where I am. When I found out I was pregnant, the first two symptoms I had was, one, I had to go to the bathroom all the time, and I still do. It's crazy. I was always the person who went to bed, slept, and then woke up the next morning. But now I'm a person who goes to bed and then wakes up one or two times throughout the night to go to the bathroom and then wakes up. I just think it's preparing me for the fact that I'm not going to have a solid night's sleep for, a minute or so. My other symptom was my breasts were tender, and that lasted until probably about week 10 or 11, but then that kind of subsided. So around week 7 or 8, I did have a sharp pain in kind of my ovary area. And so immediately I went to Google, which is not the best thing to do. And luckily I have a really wise husband who said, put your phone down, get off Google, and call the doctor's office. So I did. And the nurse immediately knew what it was. She said it was a corpus luteum. And basically, when the egg's fertilized, all the progesterone is coming from the corpus luteum at first until the fetus can produce it itself. And a lot of times what it is a massive cell, so it causes a little cyst. Well, when it's done, it can burst and you'll feel a sharp pain. And the nurse said as long as it wasn't a continuous pain, she just really wasn't worried about it and felt like that's what it was based on where I was in my pregnancy. And that was it. I felt fine after that. So here's a tip. If you are worried about something, call the doctor's office. Do not look on Google. That's like the worst thing you can do. So thankfully, I have a wise husband who saved me a lot of unnecessary stress and making up stories. I also felt some fatigue in the afternoon. It wasn't anything like crazy. I didn't really take naps. I would just feel kind of tired in the afternoon. And that still continues a little bit, kind of depending on what I have going on that day. So another symptom is I've had increase of smell. I don't get offended by odors. I can just smell things. And so that's just been kind of it's a funny symptom because I'll walk in the room and be like, oh, I smell whatever. And Matt's like, I kind of smell it. I'm like, oh, it's so strong. Oh, and I've had a little cramping just as like my uterus has grown and I've begun to grow. I have had just a little cramping, but it's all been mild with no spotting. And because of that cramping, when I sneeze, I have to go into this fetal position because if I don't, since those muscles are already stretched, it's just sharp pain across my whole abdomen. So every time I sneeze, I'm in this weird position so I don't start hurting. That's most of my symptoms. So the things I've been surprised of that weren't symptoms is because I get a lot of migraines. And usually they're related to hormones. So I thought, man, I'm sure I'm going to have so many migraines during pregnancy. And at least for the first trimester, I only had one and it was sinus related. So that's been kind of an awesome thing that I haven't had to deal with that. And the other not symptom that I thought I would have is I really haven't been that moody or emotional. Again, typically my hormones do make me very moody. On any given day, I will cry at commercials and dog videos and all kinds of random things that really I shouldn't be emotional about. But being pregnant, I feel more balanced. I'm actually less emotional pregnant than I am on a normal given day. So those are two things that I thought would be symptoms that just aren't. The other things that I haven't had is I haven't been nauseous at all. I haven't had any food aversions. I really have been really lucky that I've had a pretty easy first trimester. So, those are the few symptoms I've had. And I completely realize I've been lucky and that doesn't go past me. I've been very grateful how good I felt. So as soon as we got pregnant, I made a doctor's appointment and it was going to be in 2 weeks after I made it. And so I made the appointment. I was, anxiously awaiting it. I think like every mom is for that first appointment, just to make sure everything's good. And then about a week out from the appointment, I got a phone call from them, and they delayed my appointment for a week and 1 day. And that was just really hard for me because I had been pushing any fears or stress or concerns down, and I didn't deal with that well, especially because we were still dealing with business being canceled. So had that stress adding on. I had to wait another week longer than I thought I was going to. So I probably wasn't the most pleasant person during that week. I realized I was really stressed. I tried to distance myself from people because I didn't want my stress to be pushed on them. But I made it. I prayed a lot. I pushed down the fear and just tried to work past it. Whatever the outcome at that appointment would be the same whether I was fearful or not. So, and it's not good for the baby just to be worried the whole time. So it was a constant struggle for those 2 weeks just to push that down. So as soon as they put the wand on my belly, and the first thing I saw was like baby, like immediately baby was right there. And I just started crying. It was just this amazing flood of relief that came over me. Like, there's actually a baby like inside of me. I think leading up to that, I didn't want to be too excited because I was just concerned it wasn't real for some reason, or the baby wasn't thriving. I don't know, a million concerns and worries go through your head. So I think that was just the biggest relief, that there is actually a child inside of me and this is really happening.
All right, so back at baby, just hanging out in there. Like the 8th week is when we can start to sometimes see him do some little wiggles. Are you sleeping? It's a little hard. Yeah. So everything checks out nicely, guys.
I thought I was closer to like 10 weeks, but me and the doctor's office, the measurements were off. They said it was a week and 4 days smaller than I thought it would be. So it was measuring smaller. But the heartbeat was 180, so it was a really strong heartbeat, and they didn't have any concerns that based on my cycle versus what they were measuring was off that much.
All right, little one. Every measurement shows the same thing, so I think we're good. Okay, y'all, congratulations. Oops. Do you see everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Love you.
I love you.
I'll talk to you after I go through everything else.
Okay. Love you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
So on that day, I was 8 weeks and 6 days pregnant. And so after the ultrasound, they printed out the pictures, and I went in to give a urine sample, and I quickly texted the pictures to my family because I knew everybody was just like waiting on confirmation that baby was good. And then I went into the exam room to meet with the doctor. And that was just a consultation. The doctor talked to me about the risk because of my age, what questions I have, how I was feeling, what to expect, things to do in pregnancy, things not to do in pregnancy. And it was just a really good consultation with her. She's super nice. She never at any point made me feel like she was in a hurry or she didn't have time for me. She made me feel like I had as much time as I needed and I was being heard. So it was a really great appointment with her. After that, I had blood drawn so they could have just like a base blood panel. And that was it. So then I went downstairs out the office and celebrated with Matt. And that was just a really, I was happy to see his face.
All good?
All's great. We got a baby.
I went into the second appointment. Matt still couldn't come. It's fine. I really think by the end of this pregnancy, he's going to get to come and experience like an ultrasound in person. So when I walked in, there was a portable ultrasound machine there. I was like, does this mean I get to see baby again? Because I really didn't expect another ultrasound. And then the doctor came in and she immediately started doing an ultrasound on me after she just asked how I was feeling. So the first time I was really emotional during the ultrasound, but this time I was just really excited.
I'm going to measure that while I have it on there for a second because it's hard to keep it on there, moving a whole lot. Perfect. Heart rate's 156, which is amazing.
That baby was moving all over the place. It would not slow down for her. She barely got a heartbeat, which was great. It was at 156.
It's hard when they get this big. It's actually hard to get them all into one picture because they're so long. Trying to see. That's the top of the head here. Those are the cranial bones. And 2 hemispheres of the brain. And then you can see the arms coming into view here on the sides. There's that heart. You see the little fluttering? That's the heart. And here's the abdomen. That's the little stomach bubble. And over here at the end of the spine, you can see, and the little legs are up here.
Aww. The doctor said everything was looking great, which is always a good thing to hear. And then it was just another consultation appointment where we talked through any questions I had. I did have some questions about like where I would be delivering and things like that. But again, she was just really, she didn't make me feel rushed. She was kind and patient.
Right there down to the booty, the rump. 13 weeks.
All right.
Excellent.
So after that, I went to have some blood drawn. So in the first appointment, we had talked about, because of my advanced maternal age, the chances of chromosomal abnormalities are increased. And so we talked about some different tests I could have if I wanted to have those. And of course, I'm like, I don't want anything invasive. So the test that I had, it was called the Maternity 21 test, and it would tell you if there were any chromosomal abnormalities. And then like an added just benefit is it'll also tell you the sex of the baby. So I had that blood drawn, and the results came back in 10 to 14 days after that. So we did get the test results back, and everything came back completely normal, which was just an answer to prayers and a huge blessing. I think it came back in about 10 days, and that was even with a holiday in there. So that was, I don't know, I was prepared to wait. I'd already told myself it was going to be at least 14 days. So that was really fun. And when we got it back, so my doctor's office uploads all of the labs to like a portal. So as soon as it's up there, I get an email. So I saw the email come through, and I run up to Matt's office, and I'm like, okay, I think this is what I think it is. But I wanted to open it up here so if it was the results, like we would be together. So we opened it, and we like immediately are both reading to make sure we understand like what it's saying. We're like, we see a bunch of negatives. Does that mean what we think it means? So, and then the doctor's office called me the next day and confirmed like what we thought. But we also got to see the gender on there, so that was really fun. So yeah, so those were my first 2 appointments. They went really great. I have another one coming up soon. And hopefully if the second and third trimester goes as well as the first, then we are golden. Like, I just hope everything continues this smoothly. I was going to say one thing that I did forget to say, talking about symptoms. So over the past 4 years, I've really focused on my health and getting healthier, and that includes a healthier weight than I was. And so when I got pregnant, I was concerned on how I would handle gaining weight during pregnancy, because it's been such a journey to get to like a healthy weight. And so at the beginning of pregnancy, I just felt bloated. I just felt like I ate too many tacos every day. And that was hard for me, at least for a few days. I just felt like all my clothes were getting tighter. For any woman, that's not the best feeling when you're putting on stuff and you're like, I don't know if this is going to button. But you know, I just had to tell myself that my body's doing what it's supposed to. It's supposed to be growing, making room for baby, giving baby nutrients. If I'm growing, baby's growing. So I'm in a much better place now. I don't know if that's common for women to go through this little phase at the beginning where they just, I don't know, it becomes a concern of theirs. And I think it's because, I don't know, we're told you should be concerned about your weight your entire life, basically. So I am in a much better place now, especially now that I feel like I'm looking a little more pregnant and a little less like a taco baby. But yeah, the clothes get tight a little quicker than I think I wanted them to be. But it's good. It's all fun. So I have gained in my first, this also kind of threw me for a loop. In my first trimester, I gained 8 pounds, which, you know, if you look online, Google again, guys, it's just not good. It says you should gain like 3 to 4 or 5 pounds. And so that also made me feel like I was doing something wrong. But I mean, I'm not eating unhealthy. I'm giving the baby all the nutrients it needs. It's just my body's doing what my body needs to do to grow this child. So hopefully, if you're having any worries, hopefully that helps you know that you're not alone. Or maybe I'm alone. I don't know. It's just where I've been. But I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I know there's a lot of people who recently found my channel because it's new, but I know you found me because of my last video where I announced we were pregnant. And I do want to say thank you for all your kind words. I want to say thank you for being kind to other people in the comments. A lot of women have shared their stories of heartache and also their stories of joy. And thank you for sharing your stories, and thank you for everyone else to being kind to them. It means more to me than you know. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to keep you updated on the next steps. Thanks. Bye.